I've been putting these new pulse paddles through a ton of testing and have been trying really hard to test their break-in period and what the break-in really feels like. The new core technology here is very unique and something we really need to talk about. So without further ado, let's dig straight into it. So these new Pickleball Apes pulse paddles come in at a price point of $199, and you can get 10% off using my code STSPickleball, which saves you 10% and helps me to keep creating videos just like this one. I will say super quick that no money was exchanged. There is no bias in this video. These are my own personal thoughts and feelings and metrics that I gathered while playing with these new paddles. The new pulse paddles are utilizing a new style of Gen 3 core makeup, utilizing not only edge foam around the perimeter of the paddles, but they actually have a carbon fiber ring around the perimeter between the paddle's core and the face of the paddle. The owner sent me a bunch of pictures that he didn't ultimately want me to share because it is proprietary testing information that they don't want others to steal, but essentially the picture was a heat map of how much the ball rebounded off not only the sweet spot of the paddle, but closer to the edge as well, where traditionally the sweet spot usually dies off and you get those dead spots. It seems that Pickleball Apes are not only utilizing Gen 3 technology for some added power, but they are really trying to optimize the sweet spot of these paddles beyond what is currently available. And to be totally honest, it all checks out. Here's the results for the 3 pulse paddles in the sweet spot category, with the Pulse V at a 9.7, which gives it currently the biggest sweet spot I have ever felt on any paddle currently available. It's also pretty wild that the hybrid and the elongated paddles have such large sweet spots given their shape compared to the rest of the market. Most elongated paddles for me come in around an 8 to an 8.4, and most hybrid paddles come in around an 8.6 to a 9 on the higher end. So these are really solid metrics as far as the sweet spot is concerned. I had a couple people at my local courts try them, and they kept saying how plush and solid the paddle felt even on off-center shots, and I agree with them completely. Dinks, drives, drops, resets, pretty much anything you do will have more forgiveness than really any other paddle in the industry right now of respective shape, which is really cool to see, especially for someone like me who misses the sweet spot more often than I would want to admit. Let's get into some swing weight and twist weight metrics real quick here. Here's the full breakdown for the Pulse V, with notables being the swing weight of 112.1 and the twist weight of 7.5, which is a huge twist weight, making this paddle extremely stable and helping a ton with the sweet spot here. And it's a wide body paddle with a balance point of 23.8 centimeters. Next we have the Pulse S, with notables being the swing weight of 114.2, the twist weight of 6.29, and the balance point of 24.1 centimeters. And lastly we have the Pulse E, with notables being the swing weight of 129.1, which is really quite high, one of the highest I've personally measured, generally speaking. The twist weight is 5.76 and the balance point is 24.8 centimeters. Not only does the Gen 3 style core optimize for sweet spot, but the power and pop here are definitely above average. I put the Pulse V and the Pulse S in my recent top 5 all-court paddle video, and I would say they really are on the edge of all-court and power. So I would say these two are all-court paddles leaning power, and the Pulse E on the other hand steps just into the power category. Here are the metrics out of 10 for the power of the V, S, and E, and we can see from these metrics that given the fact that the V is a wide body, it has less power but more pop than the S and the E, which makes sense, but of course as a trade-off there, you get a larger sweet spot and a more plush feeling off of the face. But again, overall, really solid metrics for power and pop. As far as break-in goes, I did notice these paddles getting hotter as I use them. It's not a wild break-in though, as in they don't get exponentially hotter. It's a linear break-in. I would say it's a bit more than a traditional Gen 2 break-in where it just gets a bit more plush over time and you might get a touch more power. These do get a bit more powerful for sure, but not unwieldy powerful. But it's something to note. I have been using these paddles extensively for a couple months now, and I didn't core crush the paddles, nor do I think they are wildly more powerful now, just like a 5 to 7% increase overall, and then they seem pretty stable now, so nothing crazy. I will say the huge sweet spot gives these paddles a nice plushness that I believe adds to the dwell time here and makes the spin of these paddles really just top tier. They are fairly gritty to the touch, but I think the spin here is coming more so from dwell time than it is from peel ply specifically. Here are the spin rates I measured for each model. So you can see definitely they are very much top tier. The durability seems really solid as well because I haven't seen really any drop off of spin since first using them over a month ago. Tons of spin and dip over the net on drives and serves. I've even had some top spin serves that hit and bounce much higher than the receiver was anticipating, which is always awesome to see. So yeah, in the spin category, these are certainly top tier. Lastly, we have control. The huge sweet spot and the top tier spin are helping these paddles with their control scores, but overall they are pretty powerful and do have a good bit of pop to them. So here are the control metrics I decided to go with here. Control is hard to ultimately measure, but these numbers I feel should help you sort of analyze where they land overall. Above average given their respective shapes, but again, they have quite a bit of power and pop, so they aren't control paddles overall. But like I was saying before, they don't have crazy power, so dialing in the control game with these paddles, especially the Pulse V, is very doable. So I wouldn't let this be a specific deterrent if you're interested in the new Pulse line. I didn't really pop up too many shots, nor did I feel like my drops or resets felt too hard to dial in. So overall, I have to say these are top contenders for some of the best paddles this year, especially the Pulse V and the Pulse S. I think the Pulse E, being hyper elongated, it has a skinnier, longer sweet spot that I don't know if everyone will ultimately love. And as far as the price goes, I think they are on the higher end of what is reasonable, but if I personally paid $180 after discount code and received what I've been playing with for the last month, I would be very satisfied, to be totally honest. If you want to check out the ball machine that's legitimately been leveling up my game like crazy, click here. Subscribe for more videos just like this one. Have a freaking wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.